I came home early one morning and found my housekeeper upstairs in my bedroom. I hadn't scheduled her. I hadn't let her inside. In fact, I wasn't supposed to see her until the following Wednesday. I stood at the bottom of the stairs, listening to the vacuum cleaner above me. Then Rosa appeared. She looked almost as surprised to see me as I was to see her. "What are you doing here?" She turned off the vacuum. "Laura asked me to come today." "Laura is my daughter." I stared at Rosa. "But how did you get inside?" She reached into her pocket. Then she showed me a key. Laura gave it to me. For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. Laura had a spare key to my house. I'd given it to her years earlier for emergencies. I had never given her permission to copy it. I certainly hadn't given her permission to hand it to someone else. Then Rosa said something that made it worse. "Laura said this way I can come when you're out and not disturb you." I looked toward my bedroom. "How many times have you been inside my house when I wasn't home?" Rosa's expression changed, and that was when I realized this hadn't started that morning. It had started 3 months earlier with a sore back and an offer to help. I was 76 years old. I'd lived in that house for 34 years. My husband Robert and I had raised both our children there. After Robert died 6 years earlier, several people assumed I would sell. I didn't. I liked my house. I knew which kitchen drawer stuck in humid weather. I knew where the afternoon sun landed in the living room. I knew which section of the back fence needed watching after heavy rain. More importantly, I could manage it. I paid the bills. I cooked. I did laundry. I handled appointments. I hired someone when something needed repairing. I wasn't pretending I could still do everything as easily as I had at 50. Some things were harder. That was how the housekeeper entered my life. One Saturday, I decided to move a storage box in the guest room. It was heavier than I expected. I lifted badly and felt a sharp pull across my lower back. Nothing serious happened. I didn't fall. I didn't need an ambulance. For several days, I moved carefully and used a heating pad. Unfortunately, Laura visited while I was walking around like I had a broomstick taped to my spine. What happened? I pulled something. How? Moving a box. By yourself? I looked at her. There wasn't anyone else hiding in the guest room. Mom. Laura was 49. She worked in the office of a property management company. Buildings, repairs, maintenance schedules, and preventative problems were part of her everyday life. She walked into my bathroom and noticed the cleaning supplies beside the tub. "Were you cleaning too?" "I was going to." "No." I smiled. "No, you don't need to be scrubbing tubs with your back like this. I wasn't planning to today. You shouldn't be doing it at all." That was how Laura operated. A temporary problem often produced a permanent solution. She suggested hiring a housekeeper. I said no. She brought it up again 2 days later. "I know someone." "I don't need someone. You have a 2-story house." "I know. I bought it." "Mom, I'm not saying you can't take care of yourself. It sounds remarkably close. I'm saying you don't have to do everything yourself." That sentence was reasonable. Eventually, so was the idea. The floors were becoming harder on my knees. Cleaning the upstairs bathroom took longer than it used to. Moving furniture to vacuum underneath it was something I could happily stop doing. So I agreed. Twice a month. Laura knew a woman named Rosa who cleaned several properties managed by her company. I met Rosa before anything was arranged. She was 55, quiet, professional, and very direct. "What do you want me to do?" she asked. I liked that question. Not what did Laura want. What did I want? We walked through the house, bathrooms, floors, dusting, kitchen surfaces. Nothing complicated. Then I made one thing clear. "I want to be home when you come." Rosa nodded. "No problem." Laura was standing beside us. She heard me too. "Every other Wednesday?" Laura asked. "That works." Then she said, I'll coordinate with Rosa so you don't have to worry about scheduling. That sounded convenient, so I agreed. That was my mistake. At first, the arrangement worked beautifully. Rosa arrived at 9. She usually left around noon. I read downstairs or worked in the garden while she cleaned. Sometimes we had coffee before she left. The house looked better. My back stopped complaining. And after the second visit, I told Laura, "You were right." She smiled. "I'd like that in writing." I said you were right about the housekeeper. Don't get ambitious. For the first month, there was no problem. Then one Wednesday afternoon, I went to make coffee. I opened the cabinet. The filters weren't there. Neither was the coffee. I checked the cabinet beside it. Nothing. I finally found everything 2 shelves lower on the opposite side of the kitchen. The tea had moved too, so had several baking supplies. I called Rosa. "Did you reorganize my cabinets?" "Yes." "Why?" There was a pause. "Laura thought it would be easier for you if the things you use were lower." I looked at the cabinet. "Laura told you to do that?" "Yes." I thanked Rosa and hung up. Then I called my daughter. "Why are you rearranging my kitchen?" "I didn't rearrange anything. You told Rosa too." "Oh, the cabinets." "Yes, those cabinets. I noticed you had things on the higher shelves. I have a step stool, which is exactly what I don't want you using." "So you moved my coffee?" "I thought it would be easier." "For whom?" "I knew where everything was." Laura laughed. "I didn't. I'm serious." "All right. I'm sorry. Ask me next time." "Fine." It seemed small enough. I let it go. 2 weeks later, I opened my refrigerator, looking for soup. I'd made vegetable soup Sunday evening. There had been enough for several lunches. The container was gone. So were 2 containers of leftovers. I checked the trash. There was my soup. I called Rosa into the kitchen. "Did you throw this away?" She looked concerned. "Yes." "I'm sorry." Laura asked me to clear out anything old. "I made this 2 days ago." "Oh." Rosa immediately looked embarrassed. She said if I wasn't sure, throw it away. I took a slow breath. "Rosa, from now on, don't throw away food unless I tell you." "Of course." "And don't reorganize anything unless I ask." "Okay." She didn't argue. She didn't tell me she knew better. She simply agreed. That should have told me something. The real problem wasn't Rosa. The following week, Laura called me. "Have you called anyone about the loose fixture in the upstairs bathroom?" I stopped folding a towel. "What loose fixture?" "The one beside the sink." "How do you know about it?" Rosa noticed. I sat down. "Why is Rosa reporting my house to you?" "She isn't reporting your house." "Then how do you know about my bathroom?" "She's just letting me know if she notices anything." "Why?" "So little things don't become big things." "Laura." "What?" "If Rosa sees a problem in my house," she tells me, "I'm only trying to help." "Then help me, not yourself." "What does that mean?" "You hired her to help me clean. She's starting to sound like she's working for you." "That is ridiculous." "Then it should be easy to fix." I told her very clearly, no more instructions about my belongings. No more decisions about what gets thrown away. No more reports. "If something is wrong with the house," Rosa tells me. Laura sighed. "Fine." I believed the conversation was over. A week later, my Thursday morning eye appointment was canceled. The office called just after 9. The doctor was ill. I had already dressed and planned to run errands afterward, so I went out anyway. I picked up a prescription, stopped at the bank. Then I remembered a package I'd been expecting and decided to go home before lunch. When I turned onto my street, I saw a familiar car in my driveway. Rosa's. I checked the date in my head. Thursday. She wasn't scheduled until Wednesday of the following week. I parked. The front door was unlocked. I stepped inside. "Hello?" No answer. Then I heard the vacuum upstairs. I walked toward the stairs. Rosa? The vacuum stopped. A few seconds later, she appeared at the top of the staircase. Margaret? What are you doing here? Laura asked me to come today. I didn't. Rosa looked confused. I thought she talked to you. She didn't. Then the obvious question finally occurred to me. How did you get inside? Rosa reached into her pocket. She held up a key. Laura gave it to me. I stared at it. What key? The house key. I can see that. Rosa slowly came downstairs. Laura gave it to me a few weeks ago. A few weeks? She said it would be easier if I could come when you weren't home. I told both of you I wanted to be here. Rosa's face changed. She told me you didn't want to arrange your schedule around cleaning anymore. I never said that. I am sorry. She looked genuinely uncomfortable. Then I asked, How many times have you been here when I wasn't home? Rosa hesitated. 3. 3 times? Yes. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Was Laura here? No. So you came into my house 3 times while I was gone. I thought you knew. I believed her. That was almost the strangest part. I wasn't angry at Rosa. She had been receiving instructions from the person who originally hired her. That person had a key. That person had given her another key. Why wouldn't Rosa assume I had agreed? May I have it? She handed me the key immediately. Of course. Then she said, I think maybe you should see the messages. What messages? Laura's instructions. She opened her phone. I didn't take it from her. She scrolled. The messages weren't cruel. There was nothing like, my mother can't take care of herself. In some ways, what I saw bothered me more because it looked so reasonable. If you notice expired food, please clear it out. Let me know if laundry seems to be piling up. Check the upstairs bathroom fixture again. Tell me if Mom seems to be having trouble keeping things organized. If you notice anything unsafe, text me. I read that last one twice. Rosa had not simply been cleaning my house. Without realizing it, she had become an extra pair of eyes for my daughter. I thanked her for showing me. Then I said, Go ahead and finish what you were doing. You want me to stay? Yes. I smiled slightly. You didn't create this problem. When she left, I called Laura. She answered immediately. Hi, Mom. How many copies of my house key have you made? Silence. Then, Rosa told you? I asked you a question. 1. Why? So she could get in. I understand how keys work. Laura exhaled. I thought it would be easier. For whom? For you. I specifically said I wanted to be home. You don't need to sit around for 3 hours every time she cleans. I don't sit around. I live here. You know what I mean. No, I don't. She started explaining that sometimes Rosa's schedule changed. Sometimes mine changed. It was more convenient if nobody had to coordinate. Then she said, I thought once you saw how convenient it was, you wouldn't mind. I almost laughed. You didn't give me the opportunity to mind. Mom, it's a key. She's your housekeeper. It is my key. I have one too, for emergencies. This isn't some stranger off the street. That doesn't matter. You trust Rosa. Yes. Then what's the problem? The problem is that I decide who has access to my house. Laura went quiet. Then I asked about the messages. Why are you asking Rosa to report things to you? I wasn't asking her to report you. You asked whether my laundry was piling up, because that can be a sign someone is struggling. Someone? You know what I mean. I want you to say what you mean. She hesitated. Then the real reason finally came out. Eventually, Daniel and I are going to be the ones dealing with this house. I looked around my kitchen. What does that mean? If you get hurt. If you can't stay there. If something major goes wrong with the house. I waited. Laura continued. Eventually, we're going to have to handle repairs, paperwork, maybe selling it. I don't think it's unreasonable for me to know what's going on." There it was. Future responsibility had become present authority. "You may have responsibilities someday." "Exactly. No, Laura. Listen to the second word." "What?" "Someday." She sighed. "Mom, you may have responsibilities someday. That doesn't make this your house today." "You are twisting this." "No. I'm finally making it clear. I was trying to help. I accepted help. And you've complained about almost every part of it." "No. Rosa does excellent work." "Then what is this about?" "You." That silenced her. "You hired someone to help me clean. Then you started telling her how to organize my kitchen, what to throw away, what to inspect, and what to report to you." "I didn't tell her to inspect anything." "You gave her a key, so she wouldn't bother you." "I decide what bothers me." Laura was quiet. Then she said, "I think you're overreacting." "That's fine. What does that mean?" "It means we disagree." I ended the call. 20 minutes later, Daniel called. I wasn't surprised. "Mom, what happened?" asked Laura. I did. "Then why are you calling me?" "She says you're furious because she gave Rosa a key." "I wouldn't say furious. She's only trying to help." There it was, the sentence I had expected. "Daniel, do I have a key to your house?" "Yes." "Why?" "Emergencies." "Can I copy it?" He paused. "What?" "Can I copy your house key and give it to your cleaner?" "That isn't the same." "Why?" "Because—" He stopped. I waited. Finally he said, "You'd ask me first." "Yes." Then I asked, "Could I tell your cleaner to check your refrigerator and let me know whether you're keeping old food?" "Mom." "Could I ask whether your laundry was piling up?" Silence. "Could I tell someone to enter your bedroom when you weren't home because I thought it was more convenient?" He didn't answer. Then he said, "Okay, I understand why you're upset." "Good. But Laura really is worried about you." "She's allowed to be worried." "I know. Worry does not create ownership." The next morning, I called a locksmith. I didn't announce it to Laura. I didn't threaten anyone. I changed the locks. Then I called Rosa. "I'd like you to keep working for me." She sounded surprised. "Really?" "Yes. But we're changing the arrangement." I told her I would pay her directly from then on. I would schedule every visit. If I wanted her to come while I was out, I would personally arrange access. Nothing would be discarded without asking. Nothing would be reorganized unless I requested it. If she noticed a repair problem, she would tell me. Not Laura. Not Daniel. Me. Rosa agreed to every condition. Then I solved the emergency problem. Because Laura was right about one thing. Living alone meant someone needed a way into the house if there was a genuine emergency. I wasn't going to pretend otherwise, just to make a point. So I arranged secure emergency access separately. The important difference was simple. I controlled it. Sunday afternoon, Laura came over. I was in the kitchen when I heard the key turn in the front lock. Then again. Then the doorbell rang. I opened the door. Laura was standing there holding her old key. "You changed the locks?" "Yes." "You could have told me." I looked at her. She understood immediately. "You could have told me you copied my key." She walked inside. "What if something happens?" "I've arranged emergency access." "With who?" "With people who need to know." "So I don't get a key?" "Not right now." Her face tightened. "You don't trust me." "Not with unrestricted access." "That is unbelievable." "No, it's very specific." She stared at me. I explained that Rosa was still working for me. That surprised her. "You kept her?" "Of course. I thought this was about her having access." "It was about you giving her access." Laura didn't answer. "She cleans every other Wednesday. I schedule her, I pay her. If she notices a problem, she tells me." "Fine. And she doesn't report my refrigerator to you." Laura rolled her eyes. You're making that sound ridiculous. It felt ridiculous from this side, too. She folded her arms. I still think changing the locks was unnecessary. And I still think copying my key was unnecessary. I was helping. Then next time, help me with what I actually ask for. She looked away. Then she said, eventually Daniel and I are still going to be responsible for this house. Maybe. You know that's true. Eventually is not today. She looked at me again. I kept my voice calm. You may help me with my house. I paused. You do not get to turn helping into permission to manage it. Laura didn't apologize. Not that day. I didn't need her to. The important part had already changed. A few weeks later, Rosa came on Wednesday morning. I was home. She cleaned upstairs while I worked in the garden. Before leaving, she pointed to a small stain beneath the kitchen sink. You may have a slow leak. I looked. She was right. Thank you. I called a plumber. I didn't need Laura to know first. That afternoon, Laura called about something completely unrelated. She didn't ask whether Rosa had been there. She didn't ask what she'd noticed. We talked about Lily's school concert. It felt ordinary, and ordinary was exactly what I wanted. I still have help cleaning my house. I still accept rides when I need them. I still call my children when something is too difficult for me to handle alone. Accepting help was never the problem. The problem was allowing someone else to decide what that help gave them permission to do. Laura may need to help manage this house someday. If that day comes, we'll deal with it. But someday isn't today. If your adult child copied your house key and gave it to someone without asking, would you take their key back? And would you keep the housekeeper if she genuinely believed your child had permission? Tell me in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy senior family stories about adult children, family boundaries, independence, privacy, and the conflicts older women face when help begins turning into control, please like this video and subscribe to the channel.